Welcome back, shop rats. Today here in the shop, we're back on the Stitches Challenger. Remember in our last episode, we made this hoop for the torsion bar cross member, and we have been hand making floor pans for this area here. After all, we've spent about 17.6 episodes making all of this stuff, including the stuff that's already installed in the car. But I'm actually in a little bit of a holding pattern right now, and so we're going to do something a little bit different today. I want to finish this up because we have to have this done before we can put the floor pan in. However, we have to be able to test fit the transmission to make sure that everything lines up like it should, because we just kind of made this all up here. And we don't know 100%. We don't know 100% if that's going to work with the 4-speed. So the 4-speed will arrive tomorrow. That's all set to go. But in the meantime, I have a day here that I want to accomplish some things and get you guys some more content. So drum roll, please. So today we're going to work on some endless details of getting this floor pans back here finished up that we've made. And well, there's just going to be stuff. We could keep talking about it, or we could just do it. So let's watch the show intro. It only takes 30 seconds. I'm Mike, and this is my car shop. Go away.
Meet me on the other side.
It'll be worth it.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem-solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
I know a lot of you guys watch Tony over at Fitzy Fabrications, and one of the things he says is make sure that you finish something before you move on. And I tend to agree with that, with the exception of when I'm not 100% sure how everything's going to work, I tack things in and then come back and finish it up later. We kind of did that with the frame rails, and I had to take some time and go through and get all those attached, and it just takes a few hours to do. But there's a whole bunch of little detail work that I need to take care of here, and so I'm going to share some of that with you. You can see that we are just a little bit high here on the floor pan. I kind of screwed up, and I want to fix that today and just blend that in better so it doesn't stick down. I mean, they do stick down anyway. You can see the one down here sticks down below the floor pan, but there's a little bit of a bead down there that I didn't put in the floor. I missed, and I'm not going to go back and change that. We're going to modify this a little bit so it's still good and strong, but doesn't quite stick down as much. And we're going to go through and clean up some rust and clean up the compound and clean up ourselves, and that's a gratuitous reference to Hogan Heroes for those who don't know. One thing that I like doing is doing something that makes an immediate, wow, that frame's all gouged up. Not rusty, just scratched up. Somebody hit it on something. Anyway, squirrels. I like to start out by doing something that it makes a big visible change very quick. It makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. So let's just start right in this area, and then we'll just start working our way back. While the compressor is pumping up, I'm not going to do much with this little spot on the frame here. I went over that with the finger shredder, and I'm just going to take my grinder and just grind the sharp edges off of there a little bit, and that'll be good. Obviously, this car has hit a few things over the years. I can't imagine a car this old having ever hit anything underneath. But frame rail solid except for one little spot where the dirt accumulated here. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and weld that up. I'll put a patch on the inside and just weld it so it's just covered up. It's an extra drain hole, and it's, as some other channel says, it's a little bit of weight reduction for racing. But we got it all cleaned up now. This part of this on both sides. I'm going to remove this seat mount because that's what this is. I already removed the other one. Eventually we're going to need to go in here and modify this seat mount so that we can put it back in where it belongs. We'll have to cut a chunk out of it, of course, because of this subframe connector. But we've got everything cleaned up here now so that we can get back in this area and start to get a lot of this welding cleaned up and stuff that needs to be done. But I want to start here first, and again, just work my way back. We might also go ahead and strip the paint off of this while we're at it. We'll see if I feel that froggy. Alright, so we got that stuff cleaned up and I got some rust converter on that. Not doing this yet because I want to do some work here, and I said I'm going to take that seat mount off. I was looking for the other one. Not sure where it is, so I better go and find that. But these are, now that I'm looking at this from the bottom, I recognize that these are 4 bucket seats. So I'm questioning why there was holes drilled here for a bucket seat, but I don't know. We'll get the other bracket and figure it out. And just a note, when you get a phone call in the middle of your project and you set your ratchet, extension, and socket down, pay attention to where you put it, because, yeah, only took 10 minutes. All right, I was able to go in and just stretch that metal down a little bit more, and I think we're good. So I don't need to bend that the way I was planning. So now we can just start going along and filling all of this in with some nice weld and getting it all cleaned up. So we'll start right up here at the front and just start working our way back that way. As we get this section done, we'll get the rest of this rust cleaned up in here, get that coated, and move back. We'll just go about 1 foot to 1.5 foot at a time. All right, we've got this ground, and then spent the last 17.6 hours welding all of this. Not really. Tweaked that around a little bit, got it kind of matching the other side now. You can see from the bottom side the little recess I put in the floor. Got all that welded all up in there, so that's good. So we still have to do some down here, but I want to get this done and ground and put into rust conditioner before we move down there. So another step forward for mankind, right? Remember that we're not really doing too much with this yet until we figure out what we're doing with the tunnel. So the other thing I'm thinking is I'm looking at this down here, how much easier this will be to work on from this side. I may need to spin the car the other way to work on some of this. Oh, and I wanted to show you I got the end of this frame blended into the subframe connector, so that's good. Yeah, progress. And just a note, when you aren't paying attention and you catch your wire wheel on a piece of sheet metal, it can ruin it very quick. So much for that 12 bucks. And some would say, well, why don't you use the twisted ones? They're a lot more durable. They are, but I don't think they clean as well as these do. So I always prefer these. Besides that, this way you get to shoot all those little wires everywhere, and you know, it's nice that way. I don't think these clean as well, so I prefer the loose strand ones like that other one. showed up today to work on the wheels for the Oakland. Kind of a thankless job, but it's got to be done.
Good stuff.
Is that
Yeah.
36 grit, 25 grit?
50
50 grit, okay.
or 40.
40, yeah, okay.
40.
Okay.
Very good. And it's real stiff.
Yeah.
You can see it takes that off of there pretty well.
Yeah. I was looking at it when you were down to get lunch. And it does. It's good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't. I couldn't find it with Velcro stuff. The cashier.
I might be able to get it at the auto parts.
Okay.
So we got it ground down. I'm not looking for perfection. Just taking the high spots off, smoothing it out a little bit. You know, if I really wanted to be crazy about it, I could just run a little tiger hair over all of this and it would be flawless. But I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. For now, I'm not going to. But I think this next chunk is ready to be rust conditioned. So we'll go ahead and get that done. And then there was one spot. Where was it? Somewhere I thought I got a little thin. Maybe not. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I guess not. Okay. We're going to seam seal a lot of this on the other side anyway, but we still want to seal this up as best as we can. And looks good. You know, like I said, I'm not looking for perfection here. It's just take down some of the high spots. Got the frame blended in the way I wanted, so that's good. So yeah, we're coming along here. Let's see how this goes. This could be fun. Shoot some rust conditioner on there. Do I really need it on that bare metal? No, of course not. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take that bolt out of there. So I've got some pinholes up in there to deal with. There's dirt there too. So this has all been wire brushed, all the loose scale is gone, and then this will convert that rust into a paintable surface. We get that cleaned up, we did. Okay, good. Looks like we got a bracket to take off there. If you've never painted looking through a camera, try it sometime. Okay, this spot right there. Those of you asking, it's just a simple and cheap Rust-Oleum rust converter. Nothing fancy on this car. Doing it on the cheap, but been using Rust-Oleum products for decades, and I've always had good luck with them, but they never sit outside, so there's that. All right, we've got it in rust conditioner. Looking good. Like the way this turned out. Looks pretty much like the other side now. Can live with that. Yeah, we could grind and weld more there, but why? We're not building a show car, we're building a driver. Pretty sure at 70 miles an hour down the freeway, nobody's going to see that. So I think my plan now, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more, but I think I'm going to do similar to what I did when we were doing building these floor pans. Was I had broke it down into, this was 4 actual episodes to do this. I think I'm going to let this be what I'd work on. I got a little more I want to do. And then we'll do this as another day's project here. I did turn the car over the other way to see what it's like to look at all this from the other side. And other than the fact that 17.6 pounds of dirt fell out of the car, I think it's going to be a good way to go. And we'll just break it down into chunks like this and work our way along every once in a while, as I just need a break from doing other things. So that's part of all of this. And I did want to mention that, you know, if a person wanted to really make this sparkle a little more grinding, and just a quick skim coat of tiger hair, you wouldn't even see any of that weld. But part of the purpose of this car is to feature the work that's been done, so I'm really reluctant to hide all the work that's been done. You know, I think seeing what I've done is more important on stitches than hiding it all underneath fiberglass and things like that, at least as far as all this fabrication work goes. I guess you tell me, drop it down there in the comments. You want me to do all of this stuff so that it's all gone and invisible? Or would you like, when you see the car in person, would you like to be able to pop underneath and look at things and see them and you'll kind of see in person how all this was done? Let me know what you think. And just so you see from the inside what we're looking like. Got a little more work to do in here. Clean things up a little bit. But we're going to run some seam sealer, but I got a few welds to do on this side here as well. I'm going to decide here in a minute if I'm doing that today or not. I'm starting to run out of time. But I may go ahead and just get that finished up. We'll see. I don't want to put any seam sealer on. I don't want to put any paint on because there's more welding to do. And that'll just be burning off. So I only put the paint on it while I did before to keep it from rusting while it's been sitting. Okay, so I ran around in there and just put a few stitch welds, finished up some of those plug welds, but remember it's also, well, the inside isn't welded on the other side, but the outside is welded on both sides. So we're good. We'll run some seam sealer around in there eventually, but that's not going anywhere at all. It's nice and solid. So it doesn't need to be overkill. Still having a hard time seeing. I don't know what the deal is. I did dial the mask back a little bit and that helped. But yeah, I don't want to seam seal this yet because we have more work to do, obviously. But we'll run around there with a little tube of that, and brush, and make her look respectable, and that'll be good enough. One last thing I want to do is go ahead and strip this rocker panel down just because it'll look nice to see that in black primer as well, and it needs to be done. So we'll get that stripped down and then see where we go from there. Alright, so we got that stripped down now. We'll shoot it over with the DA real quick. We'll put some rust conditioner on the bottom. This is a surface rust along there. And we'll get some etching primer on there, and then we'll probably shoot it with some black primer just to make it match everything else. Alright, we got that bottom shot with some rust treatment now. It's all been DA'd down. We'll get that with some etch primer as soon as that rust conditioner dries. And then we'll shoot it with probably just some black primer for now. I'm not going to Rust-Oleum satin black on that, obviously, because we're going to be going over that with other more aggressive products. But yeah, that's pretty cool, pretty good. Well, that's progress, that's for sure. It's looking good. I'm pleased with the way it's turning out. The perfectionist in me has a hard time saying, well, let's just go ahead and grind that down a little bit better, and let's just go ahead and put a little tiger hair on that. Let's just go ahead and... You tell me your thoughts, okay? I really want to get your feedback, and I'm going to seriously consider what you say. But I've always been the kind of guy that there's something about seeing a weld. I don't know. I kind of like it. So I go back and forth, So you tell me your thoughts, and I will put that in the pot, and we'll stir it up and see what happens. All right. That's going to do it for this one. If you're on the Face thing or on Instagram, /My Car Shop. That's us. You're here. You might as well subscribe, hit the bell so you receive those notifications.
So that you don't miss any of the exciting episodes here at My Car Shop.
One more thing. It's the most important. I don't want you to forget.
What?